Okay, before we start this vlog, I'm just jumping on here to put this at the beginning of the video because sometimes I'm really bad at giving updates, especially if it's been a while since I've been filming. We had so much content when it came to our new calf being born and everything. It got a little bit delayed in getting posted, and so now we are more live. It's been about a month, and Mr. Freddie, our boy pig, is doing beautifully. He's absolutely wonderful. We have found out how much we are animal lovers here, and we love caring for our animals. And so I just wanted to show you little Freddie right over here. Fred!
You know that she has spots on her nose?
Who does?
Her.
Ricky? Ricky does.
What is that about?
I guess that's our little polka dots. Hi.
How cute
Hi,
is
Ricky.
that?
Lucy's gotten sweeter. She's not as skittish, and Ethel is still the big hog. My other little update before we start this vlog is I'm gonna walk past all of our meat birds. This is our mobile chicken coop, but they are actually fertilizing my side garden, which is amazing. And last little update is I'm walking over to the chickens, and our rooster that was in our house, his injury healed. He's completely fine. He's walking around, he's doing his business. He's taking care of our ladies and fertilizing our eggs. And he's just over here. Oh, it looks like Daddy already got to you guys. Anyone can free range if they want. And look how beautiful he is. He is just doing great. Can we watch you walk, Bubba? There we go. So I think just like anybody, when you have a lot on your plate all at once, it feels like, whoo, it feels overwhelming. We had a new calf, we had a sick pig, we had an injured rooster, and so a lot of our time really got focused onto our home and just making sure everyone was okay, everyone is good. We are now doing very well with milking. We have a whole new system, we have a whole new setup. We're actually milking her in a whole new spot. Okay, I could keep going on with the vlog starting from here, but let's cut this and let's start over. Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Out of all days for there to be a leak in your sink, do you think it's the day that you showered the day before, or the time where you had gone one more day, braid, hat, bun, dry shampoo? No, it's always on the day that you actually really need a shower that the water ends up leaking. So we're gonna run to the hardware store, go pick out a new faucet. I was hoping to do a lot of things of like a pick-me-up today, which would be taking a shower, getting ready, getting outside. So I'm moving on to the next step, which is getting outside. And I don't know what it is. I don't usually struggle with like PMS or anything. I felt a little bit more hormonal this cycle, and then now that I've actually had my cycle, I feel really hormonal still. If anybody has ever been in the world of infertility, you know how that like plays tricks on your brain, where you're like trying to process what's going on versus completely ignoring it and just moving on with your day. Sorry, TMI, for any of you who don't care about all the fertility stuff. It makes my brain go to wanting to like check a pregnancy test, which is absolutely ridiculous. I just had my cycle, but that's like where your brain goes. And if you haven't gone through infertility, it's weird to think, why are people so obsessive? Why are you narrowing in and thinking on every little detail? And the reason being is because you haven't had to think of every detail. And if someone who has struggled to grow their family, they usually do think of every detail because, you know, there's a lot more that goes into it. So feeling a little bit, I don't know if it's the weather. I just know that we are going into the holiday season, and I know so many of you feel this. You feel the weight of infertility, you feel the weight of your family looking different, or you're feeling the weight of grief of some kind. Today I wanted to do a bunch of things that help with a pick-me-up because I need the pick-me-up. And I wanted to show you guys some of the pick-me-up. And part of it is going to hopefully start with a shower at some point. We are very blessed. I do have the RV, so I can actually have the water hooked up to there, and I might go take a shower in our RV. It's our little apartment that people come to stay at pretty regularly. It's pretty much full very often throughout the year, so it's a great little apartment that we have on our property. When you spend your life having to plan around when you would get pregnant, we're back in that season. We're back in that stage. And I told you guys before, I wasn't talking about it much. I'm navigating what I want to say, what I want to share. But if we decide that we want to grow our family, we actually have to take action and take the next steps. So a couple of days ago, I got lab work done. It's very common for day 3 lab work, and that's because we want to see where I'm at. Now we also got blood work done for Philip, and we are still in the waiting game. If you guys missed that part, we ended up getting a fever, and a significantly high fever, well, 102, which is a high fever, to kill off all the sperm. And so we are still in this waiting game for that 3-month period, and I think we have about 1 more month before we can recheck Philip and see where he's at. I was talking to the fertility doctor. He is trying to encourage me not to give up hope on the varicocele surgery having done something. I know if it doesn't fix us being able to conceive naturally, it could help the quality, and the quality of sperm could improve. But I am curious on here, just a quick little poll. How many of you are going into this holiday season with infertility on the mind? I'm just very curious how many of us are kind of gonna be walking this together. Okay, random fact. So Buttercup gave birth to a baby, because animals can just conceive and just have their babies, no problem. Or we are really blessed that we have a cow that isn't struggling with infertility. How's that? And she conceived back pretty much at Christmas last year. And then she went into heat again, which means that it's showing she's having a cycle. So then she was bred again in February, and our friends have about 50 head of beef cattle. And in their 50 cows, one of them ended up where they have 2 reproductive tracts, where they ended up giving birth to a second calf just a couple months later, because they had 2 full systems. So I literally, because she went into heat, that's the weird part, is she went into heat after she conceived, which maybe she was miscarrying a twin, maybe she was, I don't know. I'm not sure what was going on, but I have been coming out every day, and you're supposed to monitor your cow anyways and just spend some time with them to really assess, see what's going on. We do a lot of that with milking, but I do extra where I spend some time with her. And it's not fair right now because she's eating and she's all moving around. Yep. But I will come and feel her right side. So for a cow, left is lunch. So that means what she's eaten that day. And she's been nice and round, but she's also been very, very round on her right. And that is her condition. So I could have made her chubby, which is very possible. While milking her, we have given her a good amount of treats, and I have been cutting back on that. But she's gotten so round that we are curious, is it possible that the infertile couple has a very fertile cow, and could she have the 2 reproductive tracts, and could she be hiding another calf in there? So my cow could be super fertile or just normal fertile. She had a beautiful, beautiful bull calf. But I don't know if I'm the only one that just feels that maybe it's just the season I'm in, but it just feels like everyone's pregnant. Everyone's easy to get pregnant. People are getting surprised to get pregnant. There's baby bumps everywhere. Yeah, it's easy to say, you can't be sad. There are people around you that probably will tell you, you can't be sad. But who are they? Who are they to be the dictator of feelings, of how we should be acting, how should we be feeling? And I am very blessed. I have 3 kiddos, and I was able to be pregnant one time with a full-term pregnancy. That is wow, like so wow. And my youngest is now 2 and almost a half. We thought that we would be delivering our baby boy around this time. This coming month would have been our due date if we would have gotten pregnant with our IVF transfer at the beginning of this year. Oh, sorry, flying bugs in the ears aren't with stingers. And we've got mamas all around us that can give birth and can nurse their babies. And then there's people that are waiting. And I don't know if you were in the waiting, but I want to love you and support you through this season coming up. And I don't want anyone to feel alone. And to be honest, I feel lonely right now. I feel lonely in my infertility journey right now. Partly, it's been nice not thinking about it for a while. I've been doing so many activities to the point that we've filled our plate probably really full. Okay, so for me, part of feeling better is being productive, getting out of the house. The kids go to a little program a couple of times a week, so they are there. So I've gotten to get out of the house, go on a drive. That is very helpful, and trying to be productive and honestly trying to get stuff cleaned up for me. We have a household that struggles with ADHD, if you have not heard us say that before. And so it can get very chaotic very quickly. And so sometimes it gets to the point where it's so chaotic, it feels so overwhelming that you feel like you're never going to catch up. But we have learned so many tips and tricks over the years where I feel like we are in the best spot that we've ever been in staying on top of things, keeping systems. When your brain doesn't do the organization for you, I love to plan. I've never officially been diagnosed with ADHD, but Philip has, and Philip struggles, and so I try to do my best to come up with systems, and then our home functions a lot better. So this is not really a system, but this is a fun little trick, is when your bananas are going bad, I actually caught them before they're having a lot of brown spots, but we freeze them. The kids will cut them up and eat them as a snack. You can always put them into smoothies. We can make banana ice cream. My whole family eats them except for me. Sometimes people will wait and say, hey, I'm gonna make banana bread. And then you wait a little too long to the point where you say, oh, that's gross, I'm just gonna throw it away. Or if you have pigs, you give it to your pigs. You can always turn this into banana bread when you thaw it. So I like to catch it when they're still relatively nice, but I know my family and they will not eat it when it was at that state. And you put them in a bag, and I like to have them flat so they're not all clumped in together. You put this into the freezer nice and flat, and then they come out individual single piece one at a time. And now it's just in our fruit drawer in the freezer, and now the kids now have their banana snacks. I now have some extra food for not the chickens, probably the pigs. Go put that in the drawer. And then hopefully today, I'm a little hesitant on doing the things I was planning on because I want to have a sink to clean up after I do things in the kitchen. You can have an apple too. You can have that one, I'll get a different one. Anyone notice how much fruit has gotten? Holy moly. Inflation is, if your jaws aren't dropped with how much. You wanna hold daddy's? No, you go hold your apple. Go get your apple. It's crazy. So Sometimes it feels like we are in over our heads in the homesteading, full garden, lots of animals, certain things we produce 100% or 95% ourselves, and we are growing with that every year. We're coming up on maple syrup season, which is so great to be able to create all of your own sugar or sweetener, but it can feel overwhelming and it can start to get stressful. Good. And so I know sometimes it can seem like we've got a lot going on and so much on our plate, and we do, but we do have a pretty strong conviction, and seeing inflation go crazy, our convictions get even stronger with wanting to produce a lot of our own food. So it is a lot of work. It is sometimes stressful when you feel like you're falling behind, but I feel like systems getting into place and giving yourselves a longer runway. I wish I would have done that. We kind of gave ourselves a runway expecting it to get finished really quickly within the first year, and then we want it done the second year. Now that we're about getting into our third year, I understand where people say give yourself a 3-year runway, and that's kind of for the immediate things, maybe a longer runway for bigger things. But you know what, this is why today I pulled out the camera, because I know how important it is for us to decompress that stress, for any stress that kind of comes up in your life, wherever it's coming from. We really need to be able to have coping skills and coping mechanisms, because the stress increases, so therefore your cortisol level follows that stress. Like, that is your stress hormone, and when you're living off of that stress and the adrenaline and all of that kind of hype, that's how your body's functioning, and your thyroid is in the toilet. Versus vice versa, lower that stress, your thyroid can thrive and your body can function off of your thyroid. I've talked a little bit on Instagram about, maybe it was like last year, I should talk about it again. We have been really diving into metabolic eating and learning how each of our cells, like what does our body really need? And I know that there are a lot of theories when it comes to nutrition, and I'm diving in really deep with my mom and really want to put together a nice strong protocol of what does our body really need, and what does our body need when we want to get pregnant? What does our body need when we are struggling with infertility or a health struggle? And it's really neat. I know tarps don't look beautiful, guys. I get it. I know sometimes it doesn't look very pretty. Our pig tarp is our temporary shelter. We're about to pop up a different kind of shelter for them to move around with their new pen, and it's working out beautifully. They're fertilizing our grass in rotation, and it's just incredible. Actually, let me cut this clip here, and this is actually going to go at the beginning of this video. All right, I'm splicing this video because I wanted to give the animal update at the beginning, because sometimes I do forget to give the little updates, and there's just been so much going on that we are now back to live on our vlogs. How loving is our cow? She's just the sweetest.
The milk, oh.
Yep, there it is.
Except for
Daddy hasn't showered in a few days.
Yeah.
Too. Salty
it tastes
hair.
like minerals. Give me my minerals. She has free choice minerals, so she gets all of those minerals.
Hug.
But maybe you're the reason I'm thinking of pregnancy so much, because I literally am looking at her every single day, looking for possible like roll movements for pregnancy.
So give the context for those that have not maybe seen other videos.
No, I explained at the beginning of this video because it makes no sense.
She could potentially be due again November 30th, which is
So
in 30 days.
yeah, November 30th, which would be in a month from now, less than a month from now.
The sweetie.
The background story is that she went into heat after she was already bred. And so that is the biggest reason that I would feel like, is she possibly? But if she didn't go into heat after she was bred, I would think, oh, well, it was just the dates are wrong. It's just the fact that she had gone into heat again is what makes me just curious if it's possible that we have that one extra fertile cow. And
Hey, Dad.
It's all good. Can I ask you about a sink leak?
Is there anything in there, Buttercup?
So, come on.
I only saw Wesley kick once, and it was like a couple days before he was born.
The main hot water line from
Oh,
the kitchen faucet.
Papa helping us with our leak. Sounds about right. Oh, Wesley, you're so cute. Question is there another cutie in there? And it's just nice and low. But you're turning. Maybe your muscle's sticking out a little bit.
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Thanks, Wessie. All right. Camera curiosity has hit the cows. The thing is, she's less than 60 days out from giving birth, and so I can't really even do, you can do a pregnancy test with her milk. She's still 60 days out from giving birth, so there can still be some residual hormones in there. We'll just wait and see. I wasn't gonna say anything because it sounds crazy of her having two cows, not as twins, but as back-to-back. But our friends had it happen to them, and so they said, just keep an eye out. So now it's my new obsession, is just to stand and just stare at her. And it's really good to have something to force me outside and get some fresh air, because being inside, even though there's a million things that we all can be doing in our house, if we can have an outdoor checklist, so much healthier. Like, getting outside is a must, especially if you're starting to feel low. And this overcast weather is not helping, but since it's not raining, being outside, taking it in, it's a must. Okay, let's get going. Let's get probably the girls from school first, and then we'll go to the hardware store and pick out a faucet and hopefully get a shower by the end of the day. Maybe that's the one thing that I can look forward to. So a lot of you have followed us on our journey and kind of have a big, huge question mark of how in the world do you guys stay positive? We have our down days, we struggle just like anybody, but our perspective definitely is very different. And so what comes with that is it is helpful to have something that is something to look forward to, even when there is struggle, when there is pain, when it is sad, when it's just not going like you thought, when you're feeling sad, when that depression kind of hits, or not even clinical depression, which would be 3 to 6 months, but even just that daily sad feeling, finding that thing to look forward to, finding the things that we are grateful for and to be positive for, to be grateful for, focusing on those positives. Those are just a few things of some of the tips and tricks that have gotten us through. If any of you have been with us for a long time, you know we've been through a lot, and for the most part, yes, we have hard days, we can be grumpy and sad sometimes, but we really do stay positive through it all, even when my cow is probably 500 times more fertile than we are. That's okay. She gives us milk, and we're learning all of our dairy products and making everything from scratch, and so I don't have to go to the grocery store. It's pretty cool. So thank you guys so much for coming on this journey with us. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot to our family, and we have a couple of really fun things coming, and I can't wait to share them with you.